3 times a day, we say Aleinu. In Aleinu, we quote a pasuk from Devarim, which concludes with the words Ein od milvado. There's nothing other than Hashem. And we say it every day, and we believe it. We even sing songs about it. Ein od milvado. There's nothing other than Hashem. We say it all the time. What does it really mean? Ein od milvado. There's nothing other than Hashem. Well, it means that. There's nothing other than Hashem. So, what am I? What are the things all around us? If there's nothing other than Hashem, what is all this stuff? So the way we've learned to explain it to ourselves is a very beautiful idea. At least it's a theory that works for us very nicely. That there's really nothing other than Hashem. And even my Bechira, which we say that's pretty much the only thing that we have in this world is Bechira. Rabbina often says there's no such thing as Bechira. Even Bechira is a difficult thing to understand. Supposing someone chooses that they want to trip their friend over, make their friend fall over. So they stick their leg out and they do that and their friend goes flying over. But the truth is, that may be a bechira that they did, but who gave them the strength or the power to be able to move their leg and the sinews and all the, I don't know what happens in their leg, and then the ability to push the other person to lose their balance and to land on the floor. All of those things are processes that are only facilitated by Hashem. So what does it mean that we have bechira, that we even activate our bechira? So the normal explanation is that, it's a very difficult one to kind of articulate, but we have a useful word in Judaism called kiviyachol. That Hashem kiviyachol, as it were, is meshabet himself, or he has a hanhaga, he has a way in which he interacts with the world, where he's meshabet himself, he, as if it were, makes himself subservient to your bechira. If you make a choice, so Hashem will agree to facilitate whatever it is that you chose to do. So even though it's true, Ein od milvado, there's nothing other than Him, and really you can't do anything without Hashem, but Hashem allows you to make choices. He very much encourages us, and other places in the Torah, to make good choices, and He'll facilitate our actions there. But if Chas Hashanah, a person makes a bad choice, so Hashem will also facilitate that bad choice happening. That's the simple meaning of Ein od milvado. But the truth is, we live in a world where we say Ein od milvado, but it's very difficult to live Ein od milvado. Because there's so many things that I have to run around life doing. I have to do this, I have to do that. It looks very much like I'm doing things in the world. And however much I try to remind myself and sing to myself and say a few times a day in Aleinu, Ein od milvado, it's very difficult to live. In the halachas of Purim, we have 2 almost inverse halachas. One halacha in Purim is that you have to, after the Megillah, say, so the Shulchan Aruch seems to talk about it, it comes from the Yerushalmi, that you have a chiyuv to articulate the fact that Baruch Esther and Arura Zeresh and Baruch Mordechai and Arura Haman, they have to know that there's an aspect of Baruch, there's an aspect of Arur, there's an aspect of something that's blessed in this world, something that's cursed in this world. You have to know that. And on the other hand, there's halacha that in the Suda, you have to get to a stage of Ad Lo Yada, that you don't know anymore the difference between Baruch and Arur, whatever the Suda means, leaving that to one side about drinking, whatever it involves, but you definitely have to try to reach a state of not knowing the difference between these 2 things. So what is it that we're supposed to be doing on Purim? Articulating the difference between the 2, or not knowing the difference between the 2? So Rav Katz said a beautiful idea, and I think it's a beautiful idea for us to try to take away. The need to articulate that we know the difference between Baruch and Arur is because we need basically to live in a world of practicality. We live in a world where we have to understand there's good things in the world, there's bad things in the world. Even for Gam Charvona, we sing after the Megillah, even Charvona had a part to play in the Megillah, and we have Hakaras HaTov, we have to remember the good things that happened, and we have to realize that Hashem runs a world that is very important, but we have a part to play in that, and that Mordechai made certain decisions, and the end result was he was Baruch, and Haman made certain decisions, and the end result was that he was Arur. But if you think about it very, very, sort of, a bit more deeply, who's Haman? What can Haman do? Ein od milvado. Haman can't do anything without Hashem making him do it. No one can do anything. If you really believe, as Mordechai really personifies that in the Megillah, that there's really not a real thing that can happen here without Hashem being involved. So then what's the big deal? Aliba de emes, as we say. If you really say it truthfully, there's nothing other than God. We shouldn't really have anything to fear from Haman. So why should we talk about him being cursed? Why should we talk about the choices he made and he was bad? At the end of the day, it's all Hashem. So Rav Katz said that's the idea of the second stage of Purim. The first stage is that you have to be able to recognize that we live in a world of Baruch and Arur, there's choices to be made, and really we do things in the world, and therefore we have to be conscious of the results of those decisions. And then there's another stage. You are supposed to reach a stage of Ad Lo Yada to know that there's no real difference between the 2, and that Aliba de emes really Ein od milvado. There's one day in the year that can be achieved, and that day is Purim. There's something very special about the Suda on Purim, there's something very special about the climax we're supposed to hit on Purim, of knowing for 1 second that we've managed to, maybe through drinking something or whatever it is, to shed a little bit of our normal lives and escape for one brief moment and look around and say, oh, it's really, really, really real, and you can connect that once a year. Rav Katz said if you do that year on year on year on year, the light lasts with you longer and longer and longer and longer. So obviously Rav Katz has been through many Purims and really lives that maybe on a daily basis, what he said. But at least for us, to be able to take away that there's something special about Purim, that we're able to achieve on Purim things that we're not normally able to achieve. To recognize on the one hand there's an idea of Baruch and Aro, the things and choices that I have to make in my own life, because at the end of the day I live in a world of Ishtadlus, so I have to get things done. But on the other hand, also to realize, and Purim is the time to realize that Aliba de Emes, really, 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 Einod Melvado. There's no other day better than that to realize that than on Purim. Possibly that's the idea of Yom Kippurim, as the Rabbi seems to talk about the idea that Yom Kippur is only like Purim. Purim's even higher, but on Yom Kippur, the day that the holiest person goes to the holiest place, on the holiest day, that only happens once a year. There's a kind of a revelation to all of Klal Yisrael at that point that there's a very special thing going on, Einon Bilvado. But the truth is that the higher point than that seems to be Purim. How's that achieved? We achieve that in a very, very special way. We indulge on Purim, we do things, we drink, we eat, whatever it is. We sink into Olam Hazeh, but take it all the way up to Olam Haba by recognizing that Einon Bilvado. We should have fantastic Purim, please God. All of us should be zocher to hit that level or whatever it is. And if you're interested in something nice, I don't know if it's nice or not, you'll be the judge. But there's a YouTube clip. Check out Misha Nichlas Adar YouTube clip, 3,500 hits so far. And enjoy a fantastic Purim. Purim Sameach.